All right, the day is finally here for us to do the Model 3 trunk motorized lifts on my car. But here's the thing. I watched a lot of videos and they all are done by professional installers or electricians. I am none of those. I'm like you, just a guy who wants my trunk to open up automatically when I push the button. We've got everything over here ready to get started. Let me go over real quick what tools you're gonna need to do this project. And there you are. Most of these things you're just gonna have sitting around your house. I'll go ahead and let you guys assume you know what they're called. This right here though is one piece I had to go borrow, which is a Torx 45, and this is gonna be used to get off the little trunk latch holder deal here. Now keep in mind, I am no mechanic by any means, so if you're looking for a video with actual terms, what things are called, you are definitely in the wrong place. But if you're just an average Joe guy like me, nothing to do with this kind of stuff, after watching this video, you're gonna know how to do it. Now, I will point out that one of the most important things you're gonna need with you is this, which is what you already are watching this on now. When you're out in your garage, make sure you have all the little tools you need right available. This is gonna take a lot of patience, so make sure you don't screw yourself up in the beginning and have it all set up and ready to go. Now, this install involves cutting, drilling. We're gonna be putting in foot sensors in the back down here, all kinds of goodies. This whole thing is gonna be all torn apart right here. Am I up for it? Probably not, but we're gonna do it anyway. As I always do on this channel, I'll report all my mistakes. I'll show you everything so you guys know you can do it. Let's get into it. All right, so step one. You guys ready? We're about to get into this. We're gonna be removing this panel first. Eventually what you're gonna see here is we're gonna be putting the button right here that's gonna make the trunk go up and down. So it is recommended to start pulling right here. Now keep in mind there's a bunch of clips in here we'll take a look at in a minute, and you just basically pull and start popping until it comes off. At least that's instructions I'm told, so I'm gonna pretend like I'm a good student. Here we go. I'm told I can't really hurt this, although it sure feels like it. First panel is off. And I will warn you, you're gonna sweat, you're gonna panic, you're gonna feel like you're breaking everything in your car. I've done this now 3 different times, 3 different projects. It never gets easier. It makes you panic. That's okay. So now you will notice that some of these clips did stay in, like the green ones, and pretty much only the green ones on mine, and the white ones all stayed up here. These can be taken out and put it back in here. It does make it easier to pop it back in, but I'm told don't do that, just leave them in, because these are really hard to get out and you could damage them. You can replace them. You can order them online, but again, trying to get it done today, so we're just gonna leave them in there. So that's it for this panel, let's just set it aside. Okay, next panel we're taking off is this one right here, all along here. Pretty simple. We've got a clip right here. Same thing on the other side. All we're gonna do is take the Phillips screwdriver, pop that clip out, and then when we go to rip this thing out, it should just pop right out with a couple snaps, and that one will be done. Twist it around a little bit, it pops right out. Same thing over here, pull this. But before I actually take this off, I want to point something out. When you're putting this back on, notice how the trim piece is underneath of this rubber right here. So just keep that in mind, that when it goes back on, it needs to look like this. We'll go, of course, cover that again, but just try to observe things as you're taking your car apart, what they looked like before. Good, that's another piece. We're gonna hide a wire under that towards the end of this clip, so make sure that you've got that out. Again, no clips came out with that one. I'm gonna stick it over with my other one. Also, I would recommend having some kind of a system for keeping track of your bolts. I take a piece of paper like this and basically put a little circle around them and write what they are, just so I can keep track of all the snaps and whatever else I take off the car. All right, good, so the next thing I'm gonna do now is the lower panel here. So we're on our 3rd piece. So we're just gonna be able to grab it. It should just pull, there's no clips that you have to pop out with a screwdriver on this one, so it should come out fairly easily. I'll point out again that as we pull this thing off, that this rubber weather strip here is actually, you know, you can see it's underneath of that, the trim is underneath of it, so when we put it back on, we gotta make sure that we get that right back on top again. All right, so it kind of tips up a little bit here, and then start pulling from one side. So I don't see any pieces that came out with it, like the white clips or anything on this one, so it should be good to go. So we're gonna rip this thing off here, and when I say rip, I mean carefully. So all you do is just take and pull it, and that's, just bend it down. That's pretty much all there is to it. So if you have the premium package, you have your big subwoofer right here, you have your amp for your stereo, but what we're going to be doing back here, I believe, is we're going to be getting back to take this rear tail light out. And so down below is where we're going to actually be putting all the little pieces, the motor and all the controls. So they're all going to really just be stuck right back in here, all the wiring and all the extra stuff that we're about to make a mess of. I did, however, bungee it back there so it's not going to be constantly springing back on me. So what we're actually doing right now is we're setting ourselves up to be able to take the wiring all the way from way up here to come out all the way through here, down through this, which I'm going to actually just take a sharp edge and cut and tape, down all the way down through here, down through the back here, and then again, like I said, into where all the wiring housing is going to be down there. So first off, I need to remove this clip from the rear tail light, and so pull this out. Once that clip is out, then I can just pulls right out like that. So next we're going to take off, there should be 2 bolts right here and here. Now these are 8mm, so we're just going to use our socket, which is, you guys proud of me that I got it right. Oops, I'm tightening it. You should probably loosen it if you want to get it off. They're actually super loose. I didn't even feel like I was tightening it at first. Try not to drop them down into the car. The last piece to get off the rear tail light here is this piece here, which I hear is very tight, which is why we have our crescent wrench here. Okay, that didn't feel tight at all. So now on this next part here, we're going to be taking this off. You can feel it's loose, but there's actually clips down here. So what we're going to do is we got to do like we did before. We just got to pop them out. And so I'm just going to put my fingers down here and pull a little bit there. Got that one. And then I'm going to put my fingers over here. I'm going to pull here and pinch one finger real hard. Ouch. Wiggle it a little bit. There we go. Okay, so they were on the sides actually. So on the 2 on the side right here. So again, however you keep track of things, I put them right back here under tail light, so I have everything nice here in order. You could also just screw them right back onto the tail light. That's another probably even better way of doing it. But I'm going to do it the way I've always done it. So let's go on to the next piece. Okay, so you just saw everything we did on the right side of the car. I'm going to do everything we just did on the left side as well. I'm going to remove all this carpet, take off this tail light, and get it looking just like on the other side. I'm not going to show you guys that. This video is already going to be super long as it is. The only thing I will say is on this side, you do have to come in here and remove this little clip, which wasn't on the other side. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is come in and remove these struts out here for the rear trunk. Now, yours are gonna look different than mine. I have aftermarket ones already on here. These ones, they're designed so they just spring up when you release the trunk. They're not motorized, it's just, you know, kind of springy. But they remove the same as the stock ones. And all you have to do is when you come up here, there's a little kind of a piece of metal that goes around like this, and you just kind of put your driver in, or your flathead screwdriver under there, and you twist a little bit and it pops out, and then you can pull it right off. So I'm gonna put the camera down and we'll get these off. And one thing that's extremely important on this step is that you take a rag or something and put it right over your glass. Make sure it's hanging down right here, because there are all kinds of reports of people taking these and they're pulling them off like that and they hit the glass there and then it just shatters and cracks and all that. So just throw something on there and you'll be fine. Okay, now I have the other one on, so this should stay up just fine. We'll do one at a time here. So again, I'll pull this up a little bit, take my thumb, and you may have to lift the trunk a little bit to kind of get some room there, but it pops right out. And you can see I hit that really hard right there, taking that off. And so it's a good thing that that was there. So I'm gonna do the same thing down here on the bottom. You don't need to see this, it's exactly the same, but that comes off very, very easily. Okay, so next you're gonna go get one of the 2 of these that come in the box there. And these go on the same way the other ones came off, except you don't have to pop anything. There is a clip here if you wanted to remove it, just the exact same way as you move the other ones, but these do just kind of clip straight on. I've already put these on my frunk when I did that, and they go on really easily. Put the bottom one on here first. You can twist these a little bit as you need to get them to go on there. So now just go to the other side and do the exact same thing, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, and here's something I will warn you of really quick. People that might do this kind of thing and think through some of these things better would have probably somehow propped this up. My original struts that were on my trunk did hold this up on its own, but these new ones, the motorized ones here, one of them does not hold it up on its own. So the trunk came down, bonked me on the noggin, pissed me off, and then I had to push it back up, put the other one back on. But just a warning, if you're taking it off, find a way to hold that up, put a stick in there, something. Just don't get a bonk on the head. Okay, so the next step is going to be to take this wire. We're gonna take it right down here through the tail light wiring where that used to be, and out the bottom. After that, we're gonna put the tail light right back on. And so one thing to keep in mind here is that you've got these 2 bolts that are going to be coming back in here for the tail light. So you don't pull this up here where it's going to be creased or put it over the bolt hole. You need to have enough slack in there so it's going to be just like that, tucked up around it. And then this is just sort of just pushed down back here. That's no problem. So next up, let's get this back on. Screw back on these nuts over here. Good, and then screw this part in right here again. Just kind of leave this tucked down here to the side for now. And then we'll basically just do the same thing on the other side with the other tail light, get both the cords in here, and we'll go on to the next step. Also, in terms of putting this wire back on, I'm just gonna put it down here, back here. There's different instructions that say to put it in front of this, but as other people online have said, it can wear on the wire if you put it on that sharp metal there, so just running it behind should be fine. So what's gonna happen is that this wire is gonna be run straight through all along here, down over to the control path center way over there, and the rest of this is going to be basically done. Also, I'll just mention that you can see when the wire comes through there that it's very tight in there, and it looks like it might almost be pinching it, but that's the way it's supposed to look. So if yours looks like that, that's fine. So don't forget to plug in the the tail light again, so the power to it. And I got to put my light down so I can do it here. And so one thing that you just saw me do that I just discovered is I now have to take my taillight back off, because what you actually want it to be like my other side where the wire's on the bottom, so this clip right here can actually get inside there. Whereas what I did here, the clip can't go inside because I'm pinching the wire and it's coming off the side of it. Okay, so the next piece we're going to be installing is the soft close mechanism here. And basically it's going to replace the current latch that's on the car now. So this is going to go like this. We're going to run this along down there, and then right here we've got some double-sided tape which we will eventually mount somewhere down here in this area, but I'm going to hold off on actually sticking it in there till I see where everything is going to end up at, so we get a good idea of where the best fit is for it, because we still got to put the actual module, that the power that controls everything, the brain of it, down in there as well. Okay, now so to get these off, you're going to use a Torx 45. Okay, and so we're just going to basically take it off with that. Now we're going to take this and put it right back in the same spot, and we're going to use the exact same bolts again and put it right back in place. So now in the other installation videos that you've probably seen online, there was a real big issue with them having to thread it up through here, through this tubing. And that was because it was just way too big trying to get all these pieces through that. Even if you taped them a bunch, there just wasn't enough room in there. So Hannshow fixed this problem by sending them to us split. So now on your wiring harness, on one of the ends, you have all the opposite ends of this. And so now all we have to do is simply tape this up, tape it to some kind of a doohickey to pull the wire up through there, and we can fish it straight up there, right up here, and then reconnect to the top, and we're good to go. We don't have to fight with that anymore. I didn't have any of that stuff that you actually is made for going down through that, but I did find this old toilet unplugging thing that we never used. So I cut off the end of it, heated it up, bent it over. I'm gonna see if I can't fish this down through. It's gotta be a pretty similar type of stuff. Connect it to the wires down here and then pull it back up. So this stuff's pretty simple. You should be able to just pull it out. Yeah, just like that. This just kind of comes down. So there you can see a nice big gap in there like that. And we got another one down here. So what I'm gonna try and do is get it to go, let's see, through here, down through this hole here, and out down the bottom out here with that tape stuff. You do have these zip ties here that may become a problem. So far I got through them. They do give you replacement ones if you need to. And one thing I am wondering about is it's a pretty sharp angle turning right here. Okay, so there was no way I was gonna get this big thick wire down through there. It gets kind of stuck in here and I just couldn't figure that out. So what I did was I got this really thin wire right here. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is I fished it back up through here, and that was easy. I was able to get that. Now I'm gonna connect this to the piece that was in there and see if I can't pull that all the way through. And look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, we got it. So right now what we got going on, it is going through here all the way down along there, and it is now coming out down right through there. So the idea is that I will attach some wires to it, pull it all the way back up, and eventually to right there. And by the way, I don't even know if this is gonna work. This is like twice as thick as like normal electrical metal tape or whatever they call it, but we're gonna give it a shot anyway. So I'm gonna go like this, tape that real good like that, and wish me luck. Pretty much get one shot at this before I decide to just cut it, like I've seen them do in so many other videos. All right, we are just now about to enter into the tube. If I can get around this corner, we'll be golden. It'd be nice to have two people right now. One person to fight with it down here, one to pull. This is by far the hardest part of the project, by the way. If you can get past this, I hear the rest is gravy. All right, so it's just stuck right here, and it's just simply not going to come. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my razor and come all the way down here and cut it. Just be really careful doing that. A lot of people have to do this. Then I could just get this thing done and move on to the next step. And don't cut the seal, obviously, so stop right here. You're gonna still have to fish the rest of the way out, but you can cut between it here to wherever you need to be. You can even do it the whole way down, and then when you just tape it up, it'll be just like new. So we're gonna do that. So if you actually pull your hand on it like this, it's gonna put the wires up on this side, and then you can just get started, and then what you can do is just kind of run your blade. Make sure this is really sharp, by the way, brand new one, down the side. You can know the wires are up top, so you can just kind of run it down like that. I almost recommend that you guys don't even attempt to do it that way. You just cut it right off the bat and pull her on through, because it seems to be what everyone ends up having to do anyway. All right, so now that we've got it already wired out to here, routed, okay, so we are coming in right here, as you can see. Okay, it's coming in right through there, goes up through this, and now is here. We now need to go back through here, okay, through that hole, and come out right here, which is where we will connect it to the other piece right there. So we'll make that connection after we get the wires up to there. And this time I'm just gonna use this simple, really thin wire again. I'm not gonna use that big bulky thing. Should be easy. I gotcha. Retape this. Then I'll connect all these wires. I actually ended up cutting back the wires a little bit. I think when I was pulling them, something went kind of haywire on the ends, and so I just kind of recut them and get a little cleaner connection. So I'm just gonna finish connecting these up, finish taping them up. I like putting an excessive amount of tape on there, apparently. Look like little baby cocoons. So it's all done now. Got them all spliced together. Everything's all connected. And I actually added extra pieces of tape on the top and bottom just to keep them so they're not so like spread apart and getting more caught on things when we go to put the panels back on with all these. I just don't want you know, any more things to deal with, any more obstacles. So okay, let's get it connected up top. Also, I did just notice these actually, we kind of took care of them right here because we don't want the wire any longer, but these actually need to come up through here. So you can just reach right in though on these and pull those right over. And so what we're gonna do first then is we're gonna come up here, we're gonna do the actual lock over here. So we're gonna pinch right here, and we're gonna pull this one out. That one then goes directly into the only one it can go into, right there. And then this one will go right back into the one we just took out. Okay, so this basically is the new connection, and then this is where the power comes into it from the original spot, so the signal can still come to there. And then we're gonna do the same thing up here. We're gonna pull this tab out. Come out and play. And you know what? It's funny because in a lot of people's videos they show this kind of cut out and they kind of cut to this one. They must all have issues with this. Okay, anyway, it's out now. So we're gonna then take it and plug it into the yeller one, lock it on in there, and this one will go back right into there. Okay, so that took me like, gosh, probably 2 hours to get that up there, and we're still not quite done yet. But at least the hard part is over. Once you get to this stage, then it's just a matter of going through the steps for the rest of the stuff. I seriously recommend just cutting it the first time because that was nuts. Before you get too far in the project beyond here, come back in and tape up your tube here and get it back to shape before you forget. So I'm just gonna put a couple of random strips here to hold it in place, and then I'll come back through and just rewrap the whole thing. Here's the thing about these zip ties. So these little mechanisms here were like actually attached to the car. So what I'm gonna try and do is there's still a little slot in there. I'm gonna try to take a zip tie and just stick it through that, and then just kind of have like, it's gonna like double tighten on it right there. I thought it was gonna be just like a loop you can connect it to, but it's actually not. It was like one piece. So let's give it a shot. So now in the box, they do give us a couple extra zip ties. They're really skinny. It should work just fine. Slide that through. So now I will say that I did end up scratching my car a little bit right here. So be super careful, you guys, because that was just a stupid mistake. I just wasn't thinking. I was trying to cut off one of these zip ties with a blade, and I slipped and somehow got over here and just kind of ran it down here. So that really doesn't make me happy, but whatever. Wow, so I'm pretty sure I want to cry right now. I gotta go now back and take apart everything I just did, because I did not add in there the tailgate button wire. So now I got this whole long wire that's got to be up here as well. That is simply not there. So there's no way this is fitting through this with all that. So I'm gonna have to just cut the entire thing from top to bottom again and start from scratch. Also, I'm just gonna cut this and put it through and then re-splice it on top. Okay, so here's what I've done. I went back through, cut this all out. You can see the wires all dangling here. I took this stiff wire right here, ran it through down there, put another one up this way, pulled it on down in, so now it's sitting right here. On this side, I took the button wire, I cut it. I'm now gonna tie this to my wire there, pull it back on up through the wire thing, and then I'm gonna re-splice it into this back up top again, so that'll be done. If I had done this the first time, would have been a lot easier. That was pretty easy. So I was able to just fish it right through there, pulled the wire up to here, took it again, and just fish it right up to here. So now I'm just pulling it through this last little bit here. There we go, see? Now we're right back up to where we were. I'm gonna pull it now out of this one again, and then I'm gonna put the button back onto it. So next I'm gonna go back, fix this again for the second time, splice this, and then I'll be back with you guys. So here's where we're at now. So I got the button wire now all the way up here. That took me only maybe 20 minutes versus 2 hours with the last roundabout, so much easier just to have cut that. I actually went and just taped it all the way through the splicing. So I taped them individually after I spliced them, and then I wrapped the whole thing, as well as I went back to the other one I did and retaped the whole thing, just because it's going to be up here with all these sharp edges, and I just didn't want to expose any more wires to that as possible. A little extra protection, so why not? So next up, we're going to install the button on here, and I already showed you earlier where we're going to put that button. This goes like this. Okay, so we're gonna put the button like right in here. So you do have to drill a hole to do this, and they do give you this really cool little thingamajig here. All right, so I'm just gonna put it, you know, right here, just about center, about right there. So next we'll take out our little button here. It's one of those things where you unscrew, put it through the hole. And I'm not sure why I said sand. I don't own any sandpaper, but I'm just gonna go through like this with the sharp edge here and just cut away all these pieces that are sticking up. I've been told by lots of people that I can't do this, it's too tough. You gotta hire a professional, you gotta be an electrician. But we're proving them wrong today, guys. I take no claim that it'll be as good of a job. Okay, take this, put it back over. So there's something that I didn't hear mentioned before that I'd like to have known. To check the back here, you have these little things like this back here, and where I put the hole makes it so that it's right beside that little piece right here. So I can't tighten it on, so now I'm gonna have to grind that off so that it can fit on. See, that's why I make these videos, so that I can find these little things that no one talks about, because in all the YouTube videos no one talks about the mistakes, and they got to be making them. All right, let's try this again. Put this on in here. Now we'll have plenty of room because we removed that. Boom, just like that, we got us a button. All right, so next up we're gonna be putting this back up here. But here's a few things to be aware of. One is these clips right here are gonna be going into these right here, and these actually don't clip on, they just slide onto. So there's multiple places here that this needs to come back and just slide forward. So as you're putting it up there, you got to kind of pay attention to that. But first we're going to put the clip on here that we just went through all that painful work to get up top twice. So we got it connected there. So first I'll put it up here and just make sure all the wires are going to be out of the way, and then just take your time. And okay, so yeah, like when you're going to go put these on, you got to kind of pull back on the plastic, and then you can kind of see where it's going, and then it kind of goes right up on there. So I think these ones aren't lined up. So I think I got to actually do these side ones first. Oh yeah. So as long as you do this one first, and then you can peel this one back and line up that one, you're good to go. Actually, I don't know how those guys did it, because all of these slide on. And once these are in place, those other ones can't slide on anymore. They have to go straight up. So I think we have to take this thing back off again. We do have to pull those white things back out, put them in this, so we just pop them in. I don't understand why those other videos aren't showing that, because there's nothing to snap on here. I'm hoping that you guys save you a little bit of grief. All right, let's see how hard these are to get out. They're not that hard. Just pull them out, makes it way easier. These front ones I am gonna leave in though, because they were pretty simple. But see, now all these other ones that I couldn't move, now they're all ready to go in there. So all I gotta do is just put the thing in. So the first thing I do is I push these ones in the middle. It gives you a little bit more room here. So you don't have to hold it. And then you can line these up, this one by pulling back, pushing up. Remember, nothing about this is easy, especially that doinger. Actually, we can actually remove that. We're gonna be removing it eventually. So that's on, that's on. Boom. See, now those ones just, that was so much easier. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the motor that runs this latch down here, and I'm going to mount it down here somewhere in that vicinity. I'll figure it out and I'll show you guys where I end up putting it. I will just mention that there is double-sided tape on it, so that's how it's gonna stick once we do find a place down there. Okay, so that's where I end up putting it. And so you can see it's just kind of right up there on the side, like looks like a little like vent type filtery thingy down there, but it's just sticks right there. And the cable to the bottom goes right to the bottom and over, so it really can't go any lower in that location. But I think that's going to work just fine. I've disconnected the light wires here. On our wiring harness, we've got this another little section. They're called, let's see, right light plug, left light plug. So we no longer need to use these from the car. So I'm just gonna tuck these out of the way. Won't be using those anymore. And instead we're gonna plug these in. So this is left plug. So left is like driver's side. Then we're gonna run this other one up here over and do the same thing for this light plug. So the next thing on the wiring harness here we're going to look at is the buzzer, and that is the little piece that looks like this. It's got some double-sided tape on the back. What we're going to be doing with this is just connecting this to the only piece they can go into here. And what this is for is when you're opening or closing the frunk or trunk, it'll make a beeping noise, as well as when you're setting up the different settings for it. You know, you press and hold and it'll beep a few times and beep 3 times, and so it'll do multiple beeps to show you what speed level it's at, but it all comes from this. So we're on now to one of the big steps here, and this is with connecting everything to the brain of the operation. Now you really can't screw this up. They all only really fit into it one way. So this is the main one that says state signal. Then we got the soft close right here, and then on these ones it says right and left, so this is the right one. I would give them a slight tug too to make sure they're in, because 2 of them I thought were in and they weren't. So that's everything in there right now. The only thing left then is the power. So that's going to be what we're going to be looking at next. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is run that power wire, and you know there's only really one wire left, and this is the one we're going to take all the way up to the front of the car, and this plugs into the brain here, and this is your ground. So this is where it becomes interesting. I'm going to kind of put that in there, kind of hook it so it doesn't want to leave me. My thought is that I can take it back up through here, kind of have it pop out sort of right there and run it into the car. I'm going to open up that seat right there and start tucking it in all along the trim all the way across. Now they did include this neat little trim kind of kit piece here, so we're going to use that to kind of get it in all the little places that we need. So let's get this going. Okay, so you can kind of tuck it right down alongside here, and then I'm going to kind of lift the trim to see if I can't get it all the way. And we do have this little tool thing, so I'm going to try to get it under there. Okay, so I ran it now all along the baseboard, and now we're coming out right there, but we need to actually go up there. So what we're gonna do here is take off this panel. There's only a couple bolt or little snapping deals to take off here. I don't know if you can see them, it's getting a little dark outside, but one here, over there, and that thing will drop straight down. And then it basically slides off like this and comes down. There's a little piece right here that goes on there. Just remember that when you're putting it back on. Also, while you're here, you'll see that there are two wires connected here. Just disconnect the speaker wire, just pull it straight out. Shouldn't be as hard as I'm making it look. And then this is one of those same kind of connectors that was broken last time. Just push a little tab down to the back and it slides right out. Okay, so the next thing I just did here is when you've got that out of the way, the last thing you're doing is you're going to pull this carpet down, and you see this rubber kind of seal here. What you're going to do is you're going to take a hole or a drill and drill through there. I thought my camera was running, I already did this, but you're just basically going to take and just drill straight on in there. Not too big a hole, just big enough for the wire to fit through. And then we'll go up into the front and we'll meet the wire there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here. You only need to remove this panel here to get started. You don't have to take off the whole front section. And then to take this piece off right here, it's just a matter of pulling, and these white clips pop out like before. And then with these, all it is, it's hard to see to show you because there's not a lot of room, but you just kind of pull these little tabs right there and they just kind of clip off. Maybe you can see this one a little better. I'm not sure, but you just pull the tab and then this thing will just slide right out. And then you see our wire right here, so we're going to want to pull it all the way through. I don't have a lot of space, so I may have to go back through the car again. And actually no, because the power is right there, so I think we'll be all right. But the first thing I'm going to do here, because I'm sure this is the only smartest move, is disconnect the battery. What I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the ground, and then I'm going to just add our power cable right to there. So now the proper thing to use here would be a 10mm socket. So I already have one on here. This is for the front motorized struts. So we're going to be adding another one. All right, now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this little piece that came. It's got a fuse inline here. We're going to close that, protect it. But what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the same one that we put on the front as well. So I'm just going to loosen this, and actually first I'm going to connect it to this one here. It should just snap right in. So I'm keeping mine tucked up above it up here, and then I'm hoping that I can come in and put it down below down here so that we can still get the cap on top. Okay, now this is very important. Before you put the ground back on the battery, we need to go back and ground the new equipment we're just installing back there. So let's go back and do that. So I'm sure you remember the other side of our power wire has this ground right here. So I'm going to take it and connect it to the same place that the stereo amplifier is grounded. So I'm just going to loosen that up and put it right on there. Make sure the wire is not wrapped around any other wire, and then go back, slide it in, and retighten it up. Perfect. Okay, so we're just going to tighten back on the negative, and that means that we should be fully powered up here. So let's go look at our little module and see if we have lights. Do we have lights? Oh, we're not plugged in. So I guess the next step will be to take our power cord, plug it on in here. There we go. Lights. You'll notice we have lights back in the trunk again. Sweet, after all that, I started at 9 a.m. It's 5:13 p.m. But keep in mind, I'm also moving lighting and cameras and all that stuff all the time, as well as doing a lot of things wrong. One thing I am going to also do here is remove this clip so that I can tuck this down underneath of the carpet here. And to put these back in, this centerpiece cannot be in there. Remove it completely, push that back in, and then you can go back in. Right. So now it is raining out here at my house, so I'm going to go back in the front and actually put all of that back together, because it should be fine. But the next thing we're going to come and do is we're going to remove these bump stops. We don't need this anymore because there's now a soft close mechanism is down here, and we actually have little bumpers to put in those holes. And look at this, it's lighting up. Ooh, I want to press it so bad, but not yet. So I'm going to go back up there, close all that up. We'll be back to these in a second. All right, now let's get these bump stops off. You should be able to, and those things do not want to come, but they've got to. And then in the little bag that they give you, they've got 2 little bump stops in there, or whatever they're called, little rubber something around there. Maybe they just seal the hole. All right, guys, it's the final moment. You remember last time when I did this with the frunk, I didn't even do anything when I got to this point. I had to troubleshoot for like 3 more hours. So let's see if I get this on the first try. Ready? Okay, this is the first time. I've never done this yet. So here we go. Trunk. Oh my gosh. It's moving, guys. It's moving. Holy cow. It actually worked. Yes. Oh, now will it open? So cool. Let's try out this. Let's try this. You just tap that. I don't think you understand just how impressed I am with myself right now. I've been losing sleep over this build. I'm about to install like 3 more big things on the car, from like that heads-up display thingy to like all this other stuff. This by far was the one that's causing me to gain weight and all that. So anyway, good. So now you can adjust the settings on this by, I think you can do it here, basically pressing and holding until you get a beep. Okay, and then you let it beep a few more times. That's setting 2. So that's faster. Okay, let's just see what that's like. I think it goes up to like 5 or 6. I'm not sure. But let's just see. Okay, so we gotta figure that out. We can't be having slow. We need full speed every time. That's loud. Oh, I guess it starts at 2 each time, and then if you just gotta hold it all the way to 6 to get it to that speed. So right now it should be extremely slow. Yeah, you kidding me? I could like unload and load without even having to do anything. See, that's the way it's supposed to go. Takes off like a bandit though, like a banshee. Okay, so normally we'd be done right now, but we're actually going to install a foot sensor so that I can just come by and just kind of go like that, and the trunk will, you know, lift up. But I was watching a bunch of different people doing this online and trying to figure out kind of how I wanted to do it. And I liked what Because Tesla did on his channel, where he went basically through the little service panel down below here rather than taking the bumper off. And I think I've taken off enough stuff off my car at this point. I'm gonna just leave that on and see if I can't do it his way. So here we go. So now here's what it looks like underneath there. So we just need a flathead screwdriver for 2 different spots right here, and that panel should just drop straight down. They're just a half turn kind of thing. Pull back here. Ew. And then there we go, we're up inside the bumper. The only thing is I don't see any easy hole to get up there. Okay, so now for this next part, now that we've got this panel off here, we've got our foot sensor here. And how this works is this goes up, as it says right there. So if you're ever confused, just read it. That goes up. And always keep in mind, too, the orientation of this, that this came like this and it's going to go like that. So you want it at the back here. So it's going to go about like that. I'm going to put it like in the second row back here. And the idea is that I'm going to put some holes through there, and then it's going to screw into the plate here on the other side. So first get a little drill out that we can do a little pilot hole with. By the way, guys, do you have any idea how many holes I have drilled in my car at this point? So next I'm going to take the screws, get them just kind of barely started so I know I'm in the right spot. And then I'll put them right up to the plate and screw them in the rest of the way. So now this is all done. So all we need to do next is we need to connect it or finish the wiring, and then we'll put it all together and see how she goes. Okay guys, so check this out. So I'm sitting there looking at this. I pried back the bumper a little bit. I don't want to take my bumper off. And I'm like, how in the world did he get the wires down in there? Like, that was just not going to happen. So I called up Larry. He helped me a ton with my last install. And he said, check this out. That down in here, look at this. See that little blue cap? All I have to do is pop that off, and that'll go straight down underneath the car and connect directly to this piece of cake. Man, that was a sigh of relief. I was literally Googling how to take off my bumper when I thought I better just call Larry. Now, please keep in mind that if you don't have a 2019 or newer model, you don't have that little blue piece. So you're gonna have to go to a different video to figure out how to take the bumper off to route that down there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay down, I'm gonna fish this up through that hole, and we're getting ready to connect it. All right, the wires are all up through that hole. Now all I've got down here is this piece here. I'm gonna screw it onto this here and then put this all back up. Just slide that. And then take this and screw it on tight. Okay, that part's done. Now we just gotta connect it to our box up here. Don't forget to put your clips back into the carpet. Now what to do with all these wires. I don't have any video out there that shows me what to do with all these, but this one does say foot sensor, so I'm gonna assume that one's the foot sensor. Well, that certainly doesn't connect. Okay, so I got my wire situation all a little more organized here. So what's going to happen next is we're going to connect these to each other. So another thing is by now your knees are probably killing you from working down here. What they don't tell you out at Hannshow is that if you actually take the foam inside of their box they give you and cut out the bottom of it, it makes for a perfect knee pad. It's very soft. Okay, so now that I put this little base back in there, we're going to go ahead and actually plug in the foot sensor and try it before I put this all back. Last time I put it all back and I got myself in trouble. So here is the foot sensor wire, or should be. Where are you? There you are. Let's connect them and let's give it a try. I guess we'll try closing it first. Oh, that is so cool. Let's open her up. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. I'm gonna clean this all up and I'll give you a little tour of it after, but by now you're probably ready to go to sleep. So I'm gonna clean this up. I'll show you the after stuff. We'll talk about a couple things I figured out about this installation, but we're done, guys. It worked. Can you believe it? So that is super cool. I'm gonna put this all back. See you in a minute. All right, so quick update on where I decided to put the module. I was gonna put it down in there, but it's just so crowded and I don't like shoving stuff. So I was looking for a new place, contacted Larry again, and he told me right down here, look at this. Look at all that nice space down there. So I stuck it right there to the wall, the little sensor or our buzzer right beside it. I stuck it right down next to it down here. They're both used the tape like this. So you put it on there and stick it against the back of the wall down there, and then I just ran the cables under here. You can tuck them right down in here, and then this will all be shut up like that, and then these will all be hid back here just like that. So that's what we're gonna do next. I'm gonna close all that up, put this trim piece up here like this, all back on, and it should be good to go. All right, so we're right down to the tail end of this. We just finished putting on this upper trim piece here. All the wires are in, tucked around. I'll show you in just a second, but I just want to make a mention here that this piece here is a little bit of a bugger because you're fighting with this seal being over top of it. So you almost have to just kind of, well, what I do is you pushed it up real tight, found the holes, put the two side little clips in on both sides. This part was still hanging down. Then you had to snap that up, come through, and you're going to use this tool a ton, get it back over it so it's nice and like that. Then you can finish snapping it up the rest of the way. Just keep pushing it like this until it gets up there. But that one is a little bit tricky. So now one thing to remind you of is there's one more clip. That last clip you're going to put in is actually right here, and it just goes into the carpet before you put on that last trim piece. So I almost forgot that. I thought it was actually part of the last trim piece. It was not. So let's put on that last piece and we're going to be done. So you guys, as we're putting on this last piece, I just want to remind you guys to please take the time to hit the like button and leave a comment. Again, that's what helps the algorithm pick up this video and send it out to people who are like you or me, not professionals, not electricians, that want to know that it's possible to do something like this to their Tesla. So definitely do that for me. All right, so here we are, end of the day. Everything should be done. Final test, let's do it. Well guys, after long last, it's done. What an awesome mod to the car. Tricky, you had to have patience. And guys, if I can struggle through this, took me a full day to get it in here. Hopefully you can kind of learn from some of the stuff I did wrong. I had to redo the wiring harness twice. Obviously people don't do that. I mean, it'll go much faster. But I'm so glad I did it. And now I have this awesome trunk that I can just open with my foot. It's super cool. So glad I did it. If you guys want this, remember, like just like the front video, you know, great discount down below from Hannshow, down below in the description. Get it, guys. Get it installed. Install it yourself. Just take your time. You can absolutely do this. If you have a 2019 or newer model, it's even easier to install the foot sensor. So if you have that, you don't have to take off the bumper and all that. So very easy. That's it for this one, guys. See you on the next one. So now earlier in the video, you saw that warning pop up that said, don't install your strut wiring through the taillight like you're just watching right now. And here's why. I've had my car with it wired that way for about 2 days, and I've been notified by Hannshow as well as others that, hey, there's a better way of doing that. And so I just took my car apart, and I'll show you why this is important. See, take a look at the wire right now. This used to be just like this, as I showed you in the video, but take a look at this. Look at already how much that has dug into that wire right there. Look at that. Not only that, when I was driving one time, it said all of a sudden that my right tail light had a fail and to contact support. And all that happened was my plug had popped out because of the pressure of trying to get it on with that wire there. So what I'm going to show you right now is how to fix this. It's really simple. Okay, so here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be taking off this bumper right here, essentially wiring this then down through the bumper and out through a hole down here, which I'll show you when we get there. What you're going to need to do this is you're going to need a 10 millimeter socket, and you're going to need a T25 so a 25 Torx driver for underneath to get the screws down there. So you'll see the first 2 screws we're going to take off are right here, 1 and 2. Next, there are 6 screws underneath that we need to take off. 4 of them you can just get straight off the bat, and 2 of them you're going to need to pry up with a little flat screwdriver. Let me show you what they look like. So you can see here that there is 1 there, 2 there, and then the same thing on the other side. And then we're going to come through here and take off this little flap. And then there's 1 more in there for a total of 6. I hope the whole back of my car doesn't just fall off on me. And also I want to take a minute and really thank Larry. I contacted him because I didn't know how to do any of this, and he specifically went out and made a video just how to do this and put it on his channel so that we could do this here today. So you guys definitely check out his channel. I'll link it in the description. But thanks again, Larry, for all your help. I would never know how to do this without you. Now here's where your T25 comes into play. It's going to be very hard to see it, but right up in here, there is a piece of cardboard or a piece of your car, and up inside there, there is a little screw in there, and that's what we're going to be trying to get out. So I'm going to get it on first like that, so I know I'm on there. Then I'm going to put my screwdriver on here and twist it off. About that big. So now quickly just do that to the other side. All right, now once that's done, now remember, I've never done this before. You're watching me do this for the first time. You're supposed to pull right here, and it sounds like there should be like 4 pops. Also, to be very aware, there's something that is actually holding where that screw goes in. I think it must be a clip with threads through it. So we're gonna just pull this. Oh, 1. Oh, it freaks me out. Huh. Okay, so here's this little piece I gotta pull out here so you can kind of see what this looks like. So the bolt went, or screw or whatever you call it, went through this and it threaded in there, so don't lose that. So it looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 pops that you know, so there's 4 sounds you have to listen for there. And then apparently you just take this and you kind of pull up and out. Just like that. And just so you can see, this piece right here was just laying like this, okay, inside the car, but it was just laying like that. So when you go to put it back in, that's what you're gonna do when you put it back under the car. So let's get the rest of these off. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 4 pops. Then we lift up down here and pull this out. There we go. So what all that pulling is doing is just there's little clasps in here, and they're just pulling them off of these. Same thing up here. The reason why we're lifting down there is because we need to lift them off of these clasps up here. So when we do this back on, we just got to do this in reverse. And then apparently the next thing you need to do is just pull all the way around. And it's the same kind of thing. They're just little clips. Oh boy. That ain't so bad. And just so you know, I didn't disconnect any battery or wiring or anything, just simply took off the plastics. So now in my case, I had already wired it to the brain of the operation. I now have to basically take that off. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but I'm just going to disconnect the power. And then I'm going to disconnect both of the strut wires, pull it back out of the spot right here, and get them ready to wire down along here. One thing to be aware of as well is that you're going to have to pull off the clips that are on both here and over here, so that you can tuck the wiring down in there after, as well as get access to where you're going to be keeping everything. So now what we're going to be trying to do here is run the wires down through this hole down here, this blue ring. We can pop this out, and it's an entry point through this frame. We already did the one over here. We've already seen it because we ran the foot sensor through it earlier. So let's get this out. And then we're going to run the wire down here somehow, and somehow through the frame. Got to figure out how to get to it over there. So now you can see here that we've got an extra plug that's not plugged in. This is actually for your flamethrower, so when people are tailgating you too hard, pretty soon we're going to have a button in the back. You just press on the screen, and it's going to blast the people behind you. All right, now this part's going to be fun. I got to get this wire down to that hole, and I gotta like bend this out of the way and kind of come down there with this in my hand and kind of fiddle around for that hole and try to poke it through. Now my goal is to get less than 10 scratches along my arm. When I tried this to reach the hole, I colored myself a shade whiter, so you might want to do this in long sleeves, but a true man wires in short sleeves. Ouch! Better not be any spiders in here. I got one through. You might want to find one of your skinny friends to do this for you. I got two through, pushing the wire. Yeah, that was nothing. All right, now we reach down here, and looky what we got here. We got us a wire. And yes, it does fit, even though the other foot sensor wire is there. So now I'm sure there's a proper way to do this, but I'm just going to run this straight down here, under there, down around there. All right, so next I'm going to pry off this little blue piece right here. And so this is what it looks like. You know, I know some people are going in and drilling a hole through that, but you know, I live in Seattle, Washington. We don't ever get rain here, so I'm not going to worry about it. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. Why do I feel like I have less room on this side? Maybe that's why. So the idea is to get low. There's like a sweet spot down here where you can get into. See that? Got them poking out right there. They're just going to run right over here. We'll just bunch all the wires up down there. This is so cool. I love doing stuff like this. I hated it at first, but the more I do it, the more I realize that it's not that bad. Look at that. Just like that, both the wires are now inside. There's nothing pinching. There's going to be no seals that are going to possibly leak. Oh, man. I should write a book. Next, we're going to plug these back in. This is right. It says right on top. And that's it, guys. That's a proper way to wire it. Now, go back to the video and re-see how to put it all back together. That's already in the video. Thanks again, guys, for watching. I hope you had fun. You can do this yourselves. See you on the next video.